Hi everyone, welcome to GemArts Puppet class. My name is Sofia and today we'll be learning how to make puppets inspired by Kathputli puppets in Rajasthan in India. So here's a little colouring sheet that you can get. This is all part of GemArts Cutural Threads programme, which enables people to try fun art activities to improve their health and well-being. So let's get started. You might need some scissors, material, fabric glue, the template, which is here. You'll get a more detailed one with clothing bits added. You'll need a needle and thread, pen, and maybe a tailor's chalk if you need that, and also lots and lots of decoration. As you can see, I've got multiple sequin ribbons and things like that, and I've also added sari ribbons and any other decoration that I had lying around. So after cutting the king and the queen separately, you need to make sure that the felt colour goes with what you want. So after cutting them out, I'm just going to make sure it fits on diagonally onto my square, like so. So add 2 layers of felt or material to each piece. So 2 for the queen and 2 for the king. Now I've printed mine onto sticker paper, or you can use some Pritt stick. So put this onto the first sheet of felt. You'll need 2 sheets of felt sitting on one another, and then you can cut both sheets at the same time. For the king, I'm going to use a darker blue, and then I'm going to do exactly the same thing I did with the queen to get the king. And he's got 2 layers of felt there as well. And for the queen, a green. It doesn't really matter what colour you're using, as long as it's kind of bright, it fits the mood. So once you've cut them out, just reverse them. You can keep the sticker part in between. Now you can either thread the 2 pieces together like I'm doing, or you can use a little bit of fabric glue and just glide it over the edges. Of course, you'll need to wait for it to dry before you do the next steps. So I'm just going to carefully thread my thread through the 2 bits of felt here. Now just take your time when you're making these. So here we are, fast forwarded. You can see that I've sewn all the sides. I've also added extra little bits with fabric glue, like the hands and the face. I've left the bottom part open. This is purely because I might want to make them 3D later on. So it's best to leave that part open if you want to stuff it with spare material that you have, just to add that little effect. Now, I might want to add these trousers on the top. So I'm just going to glue them on, just checking the shape first. Don't worry if you have any glue that's visible after you put it on. Fabric glue generally dries quite clear, so you don't need to worry about it. So that's really easy, and you might want to add other little bits on and just see how you go. So just see what colour you feel like. Might add orange, might add a red. So to kind of go with the style of the trousers that the king is going to wear, I'm just going to line my sequins so they go in vertical lines. So about 3 on each leg with some fabric glue. If you are using sequin thread, Be very careful when you're cutting the sequins. And don't worry about any ends coming off, because the glue will it'll seal the thread as well. So I've just sped this up a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. Feel free to add loads of different colours just to make your puppet stand out. It's up to you, whatever colours you use and the materials you use. And just tuck any spare pieces in. If you do have little threads sticking out, just wait for everything to dry before you trim them off. Now I've added a top here. I've gone for a yellow. Just in keeping with the bright colours, I'm going to add a bit more glue again. Super easy. I'm going to add some feet as well. You can add the feet separately. I'm just going to glue them on and put them in the gaps from earlier. And if any sequins come off, just put them back on. Trust me, it'll look a lot better when it's all dry. If you have any kitchen roll or any way of wiping your hands, just keep it handy, because you probably will need to if you're using a lot of fabric glue. So just a tip, when you add the feet or the hands or anything like that, or any clothing, you can always go back and trim it, so it doesn't matter if it's not perfectly aligned. I've also decided to add some mini pom-poms. If you have children, it's really, really fun to add little details like this so they can join in. Now, for the features on the face, you can either draw them, or you can do what I've done and just stick on some googly eyes. And for other features of the face, you might want to draw them as well. It's best to use a permanent fine liner if you do. So I've just cut out a little moustache here. Again, I've just stuck it on. So I'm just going to go over it with the fine liner. I'm just using a uni-ball fine liner. You can use any permanent one that you want. I've added a little nose and a little detail for the mouth. So I think for the king, he should also have a crown. And I've just added a little diamond of felt on the top. You can add whatever style crown or jewellery that you want as well. I am going to go back over these and embellish them with stickers as well. But it's best to let the fabric dry before you do that. And now for the queen. So of course I want her to be quite decorated as well. I've just added this little detail. So white felt at the top and a little detail there. You might have things around the house like sari ribbons or spare material. You can use anything decorative really. So I'm just going to cut this into the shape of the dress. And cut around there where I've got the spare bits. If you have any spare felt, it doesn't really matter if you just tuck it in, but if you have sequins and things like that, it's probably best to trim around them. So I'm just going to add a little bit more detail on the queen. If you would like, you can always decorate the back of the puppets as well. So I'm just going to add a little top there and maybe a bit more blue. It's so easy just to add little layers as you go along. Now just to show you as well, instead of using the felt heads, you can use modelling clay. Now that's a bit more like the traditional style of the puppets, as they would have been made of wood. But for the focus of this class, we're just going to use felt. Yeah, add some more pom-poms so she matches the king. And some sequins. Make sure you add the back of the felt to the queen with glue, or you can sew it on if you haven't already. So I've added hands for the queen, but I haven't added any feet, purely because of her dress. And just so she matches the king, I'm going to add some more eyes as well. And I've also added some facial features. And for the hair, instead of going for string, I just decided to add some felt. So if you do that, add it in the middle section so it stays put. Now, as I've added lots of layers here, I might need some extra glue. So at this point, you just want to add any finishing touches that you might need with the glue. And what we're going to do now is we're going to leave these to dry overnight, mainly because of the fabric glue. We need it all to dry out properly before we add other detail. Ta-da! So this is the next day in the daylight. I've also added some stickers so it looks a bit more decorated. Now remember, you need a piece of wool or thread on the back. I've just attached it by sewing a stitch on the arms at the back there. And there's the final product. I hope you have fun making yours. Thanks for watching. Check out the links in the description.